Ever.
All right. You guys are good to go.
All right. Good evening, folks. We want to welcome you to a very special version. This is the Santa version of the Vinton Town Council meeting for this Tuesday evening, December 5th. Antonia, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Lyles.
Here.
Councilmember McCarty.
Here.
Councilmember Mullins.
Here.
Vice Mayor Stovall.
Here.
Mayor Gross.
Here. All right, thank you. We'll ask you to stand for a moment of silence and Pledge of Allegiance in just a minute. Councilman Lyles usually takes care of the pledge. Who's going to do that?
I was going to get somebody, but I was too busy with my hat. No.
I hope it doesn't put too much pressure on you there.
Yeah.
All right. So we used a moment of silence here in the town of Vinton. That way everyone can pray or meditate as they see fit. If you pray, and I certainly hope you will, I plan to, I would ask you to keep this country, this community, and this council meeting in your thoughts and prayers. So if you would, please stand for those two, please.
Hey, Mayor, real quick, I just thought I would go ahead and get the culprit of these hats to do it tonight. Sabrina will.
Yep.
I'll do it. Anybody knows me knows I like a party.
Yeah.
Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Once again, I want to welcome you to the council meeting, and we will start with the community events. Councilman McCarty, please.
We have the Chamber Holiday Open House on December the 14th from 5 to 7 p.m. And we have our annual Santa Crawl downtown on December the 12th. That'll start at 5:30, leaving the War Memorial, and we have several different routes, so it should be a good night.
It should be. Yes, let's pray for good weather, right?
Yeah.
Like we had for the parade.
Right.
Great. And with that, we'll move to council activities. Councilmember Mullins.
Yes, sir. On November 30th, Mayor Gross attended the Roanoke Valley Allegheny Regional Commission luncheon. And that evening, Mayor Gross and council members McCarty and Lyles were at the Christmas tree lighting. December 1st, Mayor Gross attended the Gish Mill property closing. And December 5th, this morning, Mayor Gross, Vice Mayor Stovall, and council member Lyles and myself attended the State of the County address.
Thank you, ma'am. It's been a busy time, hasn't it?
It has.
All right, next item is a request to postpone or change the agenda. Any requests? If not, we will move on to the consent agenda. And tonight that contains the minutes of the regular meeting of November 21st, 2023. Council, any changes or additions? If not, we'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Mullins and a second by Councilmember McCarty, I think. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right, awards and presentations and recognitions. Mr. Herndon. We're moving along quickly here this evening, aren't we?
Well, I had a council member last meeting suggest if I gave out an award that I can go first in a council meeting.
There you go.
Here I am.
Yes, well.
That works pretty good.
So, yeah, it worked out. I like yes. And for the Public Works meeting, we're not speaking. So tonight we're here to recognize Kevin Orange. We call him KO for his years of service. KO started the Public Works Department on July the 11th of 2005. And for the next 18 years, he was a dedicated employee. KO always went above and beyond his job requirements. He always stepped up when we asked him to. He never said no. Covering on-call shifts, working holidays. He was truly our go-to person any time in need. Everybody in the department liked him, and probably more so the citizens loved him. I always knew about him. You know, who's the guy that took care of the manholes in the sewer? So the town definitely loved him. The best thing that I can remember about KO, it didn't matter where he was in town. Bringing asphalt, bringing stone. KO, where you at? ETA 7 minutes. He could have been in Salem and said the same thing. So tonight, we'd like to give him a certificate for his years of service. We appreciate it. Best of luck. Good luck with your retirement.
Thank you. It was always good to be part of the team.
It was good to have you, for sure.
Kevin, I think the folks up here would like to shake your hand, and we certainly, Bo, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Sure. Over here. Thank you, Mark. Yes, sir. How are you?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kevin. We'll see you.
Yeah, we miss you seeing around town.
Congratulations.
Thanks, KO.
Sure. Thank you.
Always in the picture.
Kevin, I'll give council opportunity to comment if they'd like, but I'd just like to say we appreciate all the hard work that you've put in over the years, and I've gotten to know Kevin pretty well. I guess if you hang around town at all, you know Kevin, right? That's for sure. He's been here for a while and done a great job. Council, y'all have any comments you'd like to make?
I'll say he is not going to be replaced. There's no way. He's one of a kind, and we appreciate him so much just from the town. And when my mom retired from Public Works, he's helped her over the years with certain things, just things around the house, helping us move. And we appreciate him more than you'll know.
Yeah.
So you have a good retirement, Kevin.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. Knowing Kevin, I think he'll stay busy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. It's going to miss seeing him around town. And it seemed like, Bo said 7 minutes. It seemed like every 7 minutes you seen Kevin, whether it was over by Public Works or halfway across Benton, and then you go back and 7 minutes later he's there too. So.
Yep, you're exactly right. All right, with that, we will move on to citizens' comments and petitions. This section is reserved for comments and questions for issues not listed on the agenda. Anyone have anything? If not, we'll move on to our briefing for this evening. It's, whoops, did I miss something? No, okay. And Mr. Town Manager, I guess you're going to introduce everybody and get it started?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor Gross, members of council. It's my privilege this evening. I'd like to ask Shri Nathella and Megan Kleinmark to come to the podium. Shri and Megan are both with TRC, formerly known, you may recognize the previous name of Draper Aiden. I've worked with Shri now for about 4, maybe, give or take years. We've been working on, and his staff, we previously worked on a $300,000 EPA Brownfields assessment grant. And just recently, we'll talk much more in detail about this in a moment, but we just recently were awarded an additional grant of $500,000. And so I asked Shri if he would come tonight to provide us a presentation to talk about maybe a little bit of a summary of what we accomplished with the previous round and what we can look forward to with the next round of funds. So feel free to ask questions, and we've got some time tonight to engage in this, and we have a follow-up public hearing to accept the actual grant award. But Shri, if you and Megan like to kick things off, I appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Gross and respected council. As Pete introduced, this has been one of your most successful grant, I believe, in the last 3 to 4 years. And Pete and I, we were just talking with Marshall and Nathan before this presentation about the economic value for the town, which is beyond the grant numbers itself, which is $300,000 from the first grant cycle and another $500,000 on this grant cycle, which you're just kicking off. I think this is one of the town's best kept secrets, no longer the best kept secret after today's presentation.
I agree.
That's a quick snapshot of what the town has been successful at receiving from EPA. In 2019, October 2019, there was a $300,000 award. And most recently this year, awarded in October 2023, another $500,000 award. And that second award is EPA's attestation of the incredible success of Pete and his team's first grant cycle award and the town's success in taking that Brownfields grant and turning it into productive, valuable reuse. EPA recognizes that. It's not often that you get you complete one grant cycle and immediately get the next grant awarded. Usually there's a pause of a year or two. The town has been successful in getting this award without a pause, which is an incredible accomplishment. A little bit about TRC, a little bit about ourselves. As Pete mentioned, my name is Sri Natella. I've been with TRC for a year and a half, and prior to that with Draper Aiden Associates for 28 and a half years. So we're still the same firm. Draper Aiden was sold to TRC in May of 2022. We used to be a 300 plus staff member company, which was regional in Virginia and North Carolina. Now we are TRC, which is a national firm doing the same kind of services. We try to think of ourselves as a small entity within this big, large national firm. We operate as such. We have 8 offices in Virginia and North Carolina put together. Our nearest office is in Blacksburg, and that's where Megan and I come from. Brownfields, a little bit about Brownfields itself. I believe the council is very familiar with Brownfields. You can recognize a Brownfield site when you see one, and that really is it. Brownfield is a real property with the possibilities of expansion, redevelopment, and reuse, where the potential or perceived presence of hazardous chemicals or petroleum products often inhibits somebody investing in the property and redeveloping and reuse it. You're very familiar with that in terms of gas stations and industrial sites, but it goes beyond gas stations and industrial sites. It goes to sites like Kishmill is a brownfield site. While you don't think of that as a typical brownfield site, like there is no chemicals, no petroleum, it's not a gas station, it meets the legal definition of a brownfield site. And the good thing about that is that because of that, you can use your brownfields grant funds towards assessments and various other activities that EPA would like to see done. And there's a snapshot of what this grant fund, your grant funds from the last cycle and this cycle can support. There are all those other tasks like administering the grant and engaging with the EPA, overseeing the cooperative agreement, which is an agreement between the town and EPA, which is what Pete will get approval to accept at the end of this presentation. Community engagement, which is a huge part of getting a successful grant completed and seeing these brownfields revitalized and reused. You want to hear from your community and take their feedback and turn it into productive use. And then as part of last cycle and continuing into this cycle, we are doing all these activities, including task number 2, which you see on that screen, which is inventorying brownfield sites, which is find out all the brownfield sites you have, put it in some sort of a format, and then use screening tools and criteria that EPA provides, or what's of higher priority for the town itself, use that to select sites, characterize sites, and then move them into next phases of work, which is task 3 and task 4. Task 3 is environmental site assessments. You're very familiar with asbestos assessments, lead-based assessments. You might have heard of phase 1 environmental site assessments. There should be no commercial property transaction without a phase 1 assessment. By now we all know that. Phase 2s are also very important, where a phase 1 finds certain issues, so you need to do more to study the site. That's a phase 2 assessment. And then the next step, which is planning for cleanup and reuse of properties, which is really what you want to get to in the first place. Again, another snapshot with more detail under each task, tasks 1, 2, 3, and 4 that I showed on the last screen. This is a timeline of your previous grant cycle, started in October 2019, and over 3.5 years, completed it in June 2023, successfully closed out. EPA approved everything that you did. And these are your actual accomplishments from your last grant cycle. 7 phase 1 environmental site assessments were completed, 3 substantially sized phase 2 environmental site assessments, and related documentation, which is referred to as project work plans. Lots of acronyms, but that's really, it's what EPA likes to see. Technical reports and administrative reports, including financial reports, which EPA likes to see every year, including the closeout year. And finally, remediation, redevelopment planning studies, related documentation, and concept plans. 7 of those were completed. So altogether, the town completed over 25 projects and reports, generated 25 project reports through that round of EPA funding. In addition, the town also leveraged these funds to get other funds from other sources like Virginia DEQ. This is your new grant cycles timeline, 2023. Started in October 2023, and you have 4 years until September 2027 to accomplish the goals that you have set for yourself and approved by EPA. Tasks are very similar to last tasks, including grant management, community outreach, community involvement planning, inventorying, completing site assessments, and cleanup and reuse planning. Under reuse planning, I want to talk just a little bit about what different kinds of studies can be done, market studies, to figure out what you can do with a site. If a hotel is a perfect site for, and we know that there are, you have a targeted location for that, that's fantastic. So that has been supported in the past. Potentially could be in the future. We're working with the EPA to be able to get that done. But if not, there are other kinds of planning studies that can be done. And there are so many other sites in the town that have completed assessments and are ready to be put out in the market. And that's when you need more of these conceptual studies to be shown to developers, shown to investors, so you can attract the kind of investment into the town. There are also potentially marketing outreach activities that these funds support, including creating drone videos or other marketing videos. Potentially, in the future, we'll be able to spend some of this money on that. That's more detail on what you will be accomplishing under Task 1, community engagement. And these are some of those different examples of the type of engagement options you can set up. And we just concluded Pete will be reconvening a Brownfields Redevelopment Advisory Group from pulling from different sources within the town, economic development folks, community development folks, potentially even industrial folks to get support to drive your Brownfields program. And then there's a whole list of things that can be funded by this grant, including putting up billboards. That hasn't happened often, but there's one community in North Carolina that had so much trouble getting community buy-in for EPA. The word EPA was scaring folks, and Brownfields and EPA, that they resorted to putting billboard signs, and in fact, it was actually successful. So that's why I added billboards in there. Direct mailing helps, social media posts, community forums, and other means of engagement with the community. Priority sites, the map is a little small on the screen out there, but the yellow highlighted sites are candidate sites that the town prioritized prior to this grant cycle. Back in fall of 2022 is when town did its homework and shortlisted over 25 sites and elevated 3 sites to the top of the list and narrated and got EPA's buy-in. And those yellow highlighted sites are the current candidate sites as of when the 2022 application was put together. Most of them are still town's priorities, I believe. Some of them might have gone up the ladder, some of them might have gone down the ladder, but essentially they are priorities. They are by no means the only sites on which you can spend your money. You can spend your grant dollars on any brownfield site that you choose in town. Task 3, which is really the meat and potatoes of where most of your grant money is spent on, it involves environmental site assessments and other kinds of assessments that you do on your brownfield sites. EPA likes to see most of these grant funds in this task to be spent on environmental assessments, but there are other assessments like structural assessment that I mentioned out there. It's right in the middle of that list. Some of these grant funds can be used to do structural assessments because you want to reuse a brownfield property. You need to know if it is structurally sound. So EPA allows some of this money to be spent on that. Geophysical engineering, which is to understand what's in the subsurface in some situations. Geotechnical engineering in limited cases. Threatened and endangered species assessments, historic resources assessments. But the bulk of these assessments involves phase 1 and phase 2 environmental assessment. You're also very familiar with asbestos, lead-based paint, and mold in structures. Those assessments can also be funded by your grant. Phase 1 assessments, I don't really mean to go into the details of this, but most of you are very familiar with what a phase 1 environmental site assessment is all about. It is a minimum level of due diligence that any entity that is transacting on a property, either purchasing or selling, need to ensure that your liabilities in future are protected. So those are environmental site assessments. They include typically desktop level review and some level of site reconnaissance. It doesn't involve any punching holes and picking up samples from soil or water. That comes next. And that's what you're seeing on the screen now, phase 2 environmental site assessment, which involves and it is very variable. It is not extremely prescriptive. You can pick up soil samples alone or water samples alone or vapor samples alone. All of that can be driven by what you find during a phase 1 assessment, which kind of tells you what you need to be looking for in a phase 2. That's what we do in a phase 2. So you can optimize and use your brownfields dollars wisely and focus on what really needs to be done under a phase 2 instead of doing it broadly for every site. Project work plans are plans that help focus during a phase 2 assessment, but they could also involve other kinds of plans, which includes quality assurance project plan, quality management plan, which EPA requires us to do. And last but not least is planning for remediation and or redevelopment. Again, for a successful brownfields program to really realize its potential, redevelopment is the key, right? I mean, we don't want to do phase 1 and phase 2 assessments and put them on a shelf. It serves no purpose. We really want to see revitalization. You want to see these kind of exciting community and economic opportunities for your citizens, which is the goal of this brownfields grant and this program. And so the first 2 bullets focus on your goals, and then the grayed out bullets are really the types of efforts that can be funded by your grant. The concept that you see out there is a concept from another grantee where they have invested in a former foundry property and turned one part of the property already into a skate park and intending it to be expanded over the next few years with more funding into an elaborate sports park. The other side is going to turn into a brewery with a little bit of entertainment area out there. These concepts were funded by EPA grants, and similarly, the town has invested its last round of EPA funding into these kind of efforts, and the intention is the town would continue doing the same in the future too. These are the different types of redevelopment and reuse, cleanup and reuse planning studies and efforts that can be funded by this grant. Gishmill site that you see out here is, of course, one of your top priorities, and the town is intending to focus some of the current grant funds towards getting this site repurposed and redeveloped in very short order. And I believe the closing or the transfer of ownership happened this week or last week, and that sets the stage for quite a bit of future work to be done under the EPA grant. And is there anything more you would like to add to this on Gishmal, Pete?
I guess just to reemphasize, not only did we use EPA grant funds, but Sri and his team was successful in leveraging these funds for Virginia Brownfields Assistance Fund. So we really maximized the resources here for this site, but several other sites, but this one in particular. As you know, this is a very challenged site. So we've done everything from hydrology studies to physical assessments, environmental assessments, and
Structural assessment.
and used, any time an obstacle came up, we were looking at tools and resources, and EPA and then VBAF was instrumental in making this project work. Without those funds, I don't know that this project would be realized. So, So it really is kind of a case study in how this process should work and what the result is.
You even got a DHR Disaster Relief Fund grant that help support part of the efforts too. So, incredible success story. And speaking of leveraging, here's a slide that speaks to all of it. Pete mentioned VBAF funds. Virginia Economic Development Partnership provides those funds for assessment and planning grants, but they also provide for cleanup grants, and our goal is to get something like that for the town for one or more of your properties. Now, the assessment and planning grants that Virginia Economic Development Partnership provides is on a rolling cycle. It's $50,000 each. It runs throughout the year till they run out of money. The cleanup grants are $500,000 each, but only on a specific time frame. The last deadline passed on September 29th. The next one will be somewhere around fall of 2024. Our goal is we'll have one or two sites ready to be able to take advantage of that. The other types of grants that you can get from the state, same VEDP, you're very familiar, I'm sure, with the Virginia Business Ready Sites program and their grants, their site characterization, site development grants, DHD, CD, IRF grants. There is the Gishmal site is a recipient of that too. Cleanup grants, again, from EPA, that's one of our goals for the town, because for a limited time, EPA is providing these grants with no match. If you scroll up a little bit, you'll notice the VEDP. State remediation grants require 1:1 match, whereas the EPA's cleanup grants in the past required a 20% match. For the next few years, they're requiring no match. So our goal would be to get one or two of your sites at the stage where we can potentially, with your approval, pursue a cleanup grant next year during this time. With that, I wanted to conclude, and Megan, if you wanted to say anything, I just wanted to introduce Megan here. Megan is a senior project geologist with our group. She joined our team about a year back, expert in environmental assessments and phase 1s and phase 2s, etc. And she's going to play a huge part in your Brownfields grant program. So if there's anything you wanted to add.
Yeah. Just hello. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for letting us talk at you for a little while, and we look forward to working with you guys over the next 4+ years. So, and if you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact Sri, and I could give you a card, and feel free to contact me as well. But Shri's going to be your point of contact. But.
Okay. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, good to see you both, and we certainly appreciate that briefing. And as you know, we have a public hearing concerning this item, next item on our list, so I'll save most of my comments. But I did want to point out that if I heard you correctly, you mentioned takes a team effort, takes a lot of folks working on this. So we appreciate all of your work, but we certainly appreciate what staff has done on this, because we know that, there's been a lot of work put in. And you also mentioned the fact that we got, I guess, several grants in a row. And, well, I don't want to jinx this, but whoever makes those final decisions, I think we've developed a reputation of getting the job done. You know, if you give Vinton a grant, we're going to do it right. Is that right? And we've, I think, done a good job in that aspect. You know, we always try to carry through with what we say we're going to do. And I think that's important when it comes to getting that second grant, you know, so.
We like to also live by the fact, you give us free money, we're going to do the best we can do with it. Care where it comes from. You want to pull it out of your pocket, we'll spend it well for you.
I was trying to be eloquent, but that's right. You're right. Okay, so thank you folks very much. Appreciate you. And we'll look forward.
Have a nice holiday.
Yeah. Guys, anything else?
Yeah, I did write down before and so I don't really have much to say, but as he was going through the list, I remember this Gishmill project been going on for years and years, and just about everything you said, it did touch that. Like Brownfield was mentioned every single time we talked about Gishmill, if we need this for that. And so, and then from my understanding, it's luckily that we did own that property, because a private citizen or a private company wouldn't be able to get these grants to fix this property up. So we would probably lose that property if it wasn't for these grants.
Absolutely.
So thanks for all y'all's help.
Good point.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Good point. All right.
Well, Mayor Gross, I'll just make one more comment. I just want to, again, acknowledge Sheree and his team. All of his team from day one have been exceptional. We've got great staff with the town, and Nathan and Nita has worked on the previous grant. Marshall's been working on this grant for the last few months, but without TRC, previously Draper, I mean, they've made this really so easy for us. A lot of grants, they take a lot of work, and not this one is any different than that, but they make it very, very easy for staff. So I just want to acknowledge their work and how pleasant it's been to work with them. It really is about the easiest grant we've had to manage as staff, because of the solid and professional work that they do on their side, and they deliver a great package for us. So it makes it great for staff, and it's a pleasure to work with them.
Oh, that's great.
Great. Thank you much, Pete.
Thank you. I don't think you couldn't get a higher recommendation than that. So, thank you, folks. We appreciate you. Look forward to working with you. So now that we've completed the briefing, we will move on to the public hearing. And of course, that's consideration of the resolution that would accept the $500,000 grant. So I will officially open the public hearing, and as per usual, we will start with the report from the staff. Nathan, I understand you're going to start out this evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So Sheree and Megan gave a good presentation on the EPA grant. And so the resolution before you, it covers two facets of us actually adopting these funds and able to hit the ground running and starting to do these work tasks that were discussed in the presentation. So the resolution will allow for the grant funds to be moved to the grant account so they could be expended, and also for the town manager to be authorized to execute the cooperative agreement with the EPA. The reason for a public hearing is because with it being a $500,000 grant, it exceeds 1% of our total expenditures in our previously adopted budget, so it had to be advertised in the paper. So we've met the notice for hearings, the notice of public hearing requirements, and you may be having some deja vu concerning the resolution, but October 17th, the previous time that I gave a briefing, we had a resolution that was to execute an agreement for us to actually have TRC go under contract to do this grant, and then this resolution is actually for us just to move the grant funds so we can start spending the funds and actually executing the agreement with the EPA. So the presentation covered all the logistics about the grant over the next 4 years. It's $500,000, but no match. So that was cover the resolution. Any questions?
Right, we'll give council an opportunity to make any comments they would like. Thank you, Nathan, I appreciate that.
Thank you all.
Good report. And so I would like to call for public comments. Anyone here would like to comment on this? If not, we'll move on to any comments. Oh, I'm sorry. Come up. If you'll give your name and address, please.
My name is Daniel McCulloch, 806 South Pollard. The only concern would be, I heard the word hotel be used. Living in Benton most of my life, we have close proximity to Southeast. And with the Speedway being shut down, there was a lot of drug usage and a lot of, illegal activities transpiring. My only concern would be those activities coming into Benton. So would a hotel necessarily be a good idea with the use of those fundings? And that would be my only concern that I would have, is with our proximity with Southeast, a lot of the transients, we're noticing a lot of those issues transpire. So I don't know if that would necessarily be related, but I would have to say that would be a cause of concern.
I appreciate that comment, and I understand your concern. The type of motel we got planned, I don't think it's going to attract very much drug activity, just to be candid about that. And this man right over here, our police chief, does a great job. We have a fully accredited police department and fully staffed, I might mention, and they do a great job. So I understand your concern, because let's face it, that's a problem in our society. But I can assure you that's one thing we'll definitely keep a close eye on as we develop that hotel-motel situation. I guess hotel is proper. Yeah.
And then just to add to that, with what we're talking about, the grants and the funding, we wouldn't be able to build a hotel with that. It's to prepare a site or to clean up a site. So whether a hotel would go in that site or not, it's not up to us, other than if one of us individuals had $32 million to go away on a hotel. But it's mainly just to get that site ready for, if a developer with $32 million wants to come along and build a hotel, they could do that, or something else could go there. But at least the site would be cleaned up by this grant.
It would be a lot of lemonade sales.
And Councilmember Lyles and I had this conversation yesterday, and we understand 100% about the homeless population. We understand about the Speedway closing. We have had issues at Kroger's, and as not speaking for council, but can say the police chief and the police department, when citizens call about it, we address it. And yeah, like the mayor said, the hotel that we're actually going to build is naturally going to be, it won't affect them. But yeah, you're right. We had to have a couple of issues when it first closed the Speedway. The place looked terrible. And then they went down and cleaned it up. But we do thank you for coming, and yes, appreciate your comments.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, sure do. Thank you,
And
sir.
if I could just say something really quick, I would think the grant would be, spread several sites also, and I totally understand, because my husband's family owns the Benton Pawn Shop, so we're right there. And we've had some issues before, and the police have been right there to help us. So I appreciate that, and I completely understand.
So, guys, I guess we're already unofficially, or maybe officially, into the discussion portion of the public hearing. I got a couple of comments I'd like to make. Any other comments you guys have? I just wanted to say, I think this is awesome. For one thing, that's a lot of money. That's $500,000, and I know it took a lot of work to get there, and I'm sure it will be spent wisely. I think these grants are obviously really important, because obviously it goes toward economic development. When we talk about phase one, the average guy like me doesn't always understand exactly what all that entails, but I understand that if we have a piece of property or even a structure, that we can pay for all the testing that might have to be done on the soil or even for asbestos or molding and structural conditions and all that. If we can get all that done with this grant money, then obviously that makes that site much more attractive to developers. As you mentioned, guys, if we can take care of all that stuff on a site, then whether it's a motel we're talking about or a restaurant or whatever. So this is really huge. This is great. This is a lot of money, and I really appreciate the effort that's been made to get this, because this is the kind of thing that we've really, I won't say we've lived on this the last few years, but it's been a big boost to us. We've really, I think, hit a sweet spot as far as getting grants like this. It's meant a lot to our town. Anyone else?
And just some of the pictures from the presentation, that just shows just some of the ways we've used it, just that you can physically see the change, and that doesn't happen a lot. So I'm excited about it. I didn't know anything about brownfields when I first was elected to council, and it's one of my favorite things because it just makes things look better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wasn't going to bring it up, but I did see a picture of a skate park that we could maybe do with the money.
You weren't going to bring that up, huh?
Again, we couldn't build it with that.
Right. Okay, well, any other comments, discussion? If not, we will officially close the public hearing. Excuse me, folks. Council, you have before you a resolution that would authorize the town manager to execute the cooperative agreement to accept $500,000 for community-wide brownfields assessment grant from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Well, okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Lyles, second by Vice Mayor Stovall. Antonio, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles?
Yes.
Councilmember McCarty?
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stovall?
Yes.
Mayor Gross?
Yes. Excuse me. Okay, with that, we will move on to the presentation of the budget. Well, actually, the financial report. Mr. King?
Absolutely. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I have the privilege this evening to introduce Travis Gilmer from Brown Edwards to share with you a comprehensive report on the town's fiscal year ending 2022 financials. Very proud of the content herein, as this audit illustrates largely the very same positive financial information I'm able to report to you on every month. Secondly, I want to touch on the timeliness of this report. The FY22 report comes much later than I would have preferred. However, a perfect storm of circumstances contributed to its lateness this past year, most noticeably an unprecedented turnover in finance department staff. I say this not to create an excuse, but rather to illustrate the deviation from the norm, as this report historically has been available much earlier. Along with the turnover in staff, we experienced a mid-year loss of our primary audit manager, and now consider this to be a blessing in disguise, as Ann Geneva with Brown Edwards was assigned to our audit, and her approach was exactly what we needed. My team is made up of a very knowledgeable and capable staff with strong backgrounds. However, most of us lack specific municipal finance experience. With the assistance from Ann and a certain determination, we were able to get the process completed and present to you this clean audit that Travis will be presenting on in just a few minutes. I wanted to quickly thank the finance staff by names, as they deserve the utmost recognition. They work really hard day in and day out, and they don't often get the opportunity to come before you guys. But Tiffany Stewart, our assistant financial director, is just amazing. Kimberly Hunter, our senior treasury administrator, and she also serves as our deputy treasurer. Carrie Kessler is our senior financial analyst. Neil Divers is our financial administrator. And lastly, Deborah McKinney is our treasury administrator. I'd just like to say that we're a small but determined team, and I'm incredibly lucky to be able to work alongside these folks on a daily basis. So with that being said, Travis,
thanks, Andrew.
Take it away.
Well, good evening. My name is Travis Gilmer, a director with Brown Edwards out of our Roanoke office. I'm here to do the required public presentation of our audit for the town for 2022, as Andrew Audrey mentioned. And results of this audit and related deliverables were discussed in great detail in the Finance Committee meeting that we had. Before I get into our reports, really just want to thank council for your opportunity to serve you. My experience being involved with this job for over the past 12 years, it really has been enjoyable, and really just getting to know the financial staff and working with them is definitely a great honor. This is a really long process. In any given normal year, it's really 9 months long and over 500 hours on our part. And so, I really appreciate Andrew, Tiffany, and all their staff, really just for the patience and help during the audit, really to get us here, because it does really take a lot. It starts in, basically as soon as tax season ends, so April, and then ends up all the way here. So it is a really, really long process. So the goal is just to really just kind of touch at a very high level on the deliverables that we have. So to start, really just kind of want to give you, the nature of audit. It's really to have certain objectives, and it's really to opine on the following two things: the financial statements, and then also compliance with any laws or regulations that are material to the financial statements. So our responsibilities do not include, fraud detection unless it's material to the financial statements. And we also provide comments and suggestions to management if we come across them or see them during the audit. So the first document that we have is the act for the financial report. It's over about 100 pages or so. But the main sort of takeaways from this document is that we issued a clean, unmodified opinion on the financial statements. So clean opinion, which is always good. Just want to kind of touch on just a couple of pages that are in the ACFR. On page EI is the GFOA certificate. And so last year the town applied for and was awarded this certificate. It's in financial reporting and excellence. So that is definitely something to be commended for. On page 5 is the MD&A, which is the management's discussion and analysis. And really the purpose of this is to make it easier for readers. And it's really just a good overview of the year. So, it's kind of hard. It's a 100-page document. There's a lot of information that's in here. It's great, but it can be kind of overwhelming. And so if you really just wanted to turn a reader to it, you look at the MD&A, which is about 8 pages long, and it gives you a really nice overview of what happened throughout the year. Really nice highlights in terms of financials and some of the activity that was going on in the town. Really, kind of most important thing, a lot of things that councils and boards want to know about is the unassigned fund balance. And so on page 16 is the balance sheet for the general fund. And really just wanted to note that the unassigned fund balance was $5.6 million. This is actually a pretty substantial increase from the prior year of $2.1 million, or essentially a 62% increase. And so one of the metrics that we kind of look at to kind of compare yourselves against other localities throughout the nation would be, how many months of expenditures can we cover with our fund balance? And so if no money came in the door, how much do we have in savings to kind of cover? And so the national average is 2 months, and the town's is actually 9.7 months. So almost 10 months worth that you're covered. So really good metric there. Very healthy, really. Really the only other couple notes I wanted to mention was on page 62 of the report, there's a subsequent event note, and it just discloses and talks about the transfer of the water and sewer fund to the West Virginia Water Authority, which happened at 7/1/2022. Up next is on page 93 is the CFA, which is the Schedule of Expenditures of Federal Awards. So we have some acronyms ourselves. So we have ACFR and CFA, not as many as ACR. So, but this lists some of the federal funds that you received this year. So you received close to $850,000 in federal funding. About half of that was ARPA-related funding that the town used. And then really just the last thing is on page all the way on 100, so towards the very end, there is a schedule of findings and question costs. And so this really highlights any, do we have any internal control findings? Do we have any state findings? Do we have any federal findings? And so there were just a couple. There is a carry forward segregation of duty finding that really dates back to 2007 that sort of rolled forward. And that one's just hard to kind of get rid of. When you have a small staff, it's really hard to segregate duties unless you hire more people. Then it becomes kind of a cost benefit situation. Then we did have one for a finding for audit adjustments, just some of the adjustments that we required to get the financial report to be materially correct. And then the last two, because the town has had a single audit in sort of the past 2 years, was just a late submission of the data collection form. Essentially, you have to take the CFA and submit it to the feds by a certain date. And then the last one was just some of the adjustments to make sure that CFA, those federal expenditure awards, were actually stated correctly. So that's kind of this 100-page document in a nutshell. We issued 2 other letters. One is the required communication with those charged with governance, and they're actually kind of stapled together in one big packet. So this letter communicates to boards and councils. It might include information such as the most sensitive estimates used during the audit. Either do we have any post or unposted adjustments, any difficulty with management, any second opinions. Happy to report that was clean, pretty standard letter there. And then attached to that letter is actually the journal entries that were posted as part of the audit, as well as a copy of the signed management representation letter that is provided to us by management, signifying, hey, we've given you everything. There's nothing that we haven't told you about. We've posted everything. And then the last letter is the management letter. And so we did issue a management letter, as we do every year. This was discussed with great detail with the Audit and Finance Committee meeting. Most of the comments that are in the management letter kind of mirror some of the findings that we had in the report. Sometimes what we use the management letter for, there's things that we don't have to report in here. We'll mention them in the management letter. Sometimes it can be suggestions or just comments to consider. And that's what this particular item was. It was related to information technology suggestions. That's become a big talking point in the last couple of years, just with the amount of cyber attacks we've seen within municipalities. We've definitely put a greater emphasis in looking at IT practices, and so we just have some sort of best practices suggestion in that management representation, or in the management letter. So I know that's a lot of information to kind of take in, but I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Council, any questions or comments? No? Well, Travis, thank you a lot. Being on the Finance Committee, I'm sure the Vice Mayor would agree. I've enjoyed working with you, and I'm just amazed at all the details that you folks come up with. But we do appreciate the thoroughness of both your firm as well as our staff. And Andrew, while I have an opportunity, I hope you'll pass along to the other members of the staff in your department. So we do appreciate them, and we know it's a whole new staff, practically. Well, completely, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So
they've been really great to work with, and they've busted their tail to get us to this point. So, I appreciate it a lot.
And it's not always a bad thing, really,
No.
because you come in on the ground floor, actually learn things you didn't know. But if you've got the mentality that you want to win and you want to learn your position and you want to make a difference for the town, I don't think it could be a bad thing for that to be like that. So, but thank you, and thank Ann. I mean, I know they give a lot of praise to Ann, and they've had the opportunity to pick the phone up and call her. So thank her on our behalf too, if you will.
Absolutely.
all right.
I'll make the motion, Mr. I'm sorry.
Okay, did you have a comment there?
I think Mike said it all.
Okay, thank you, Travis. Thank you very much. So you made a motion to accept a report?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
I'll say that.
All right, so we have a motion by Vice Mayor to accept the financial report as presented, and a second by Councilmember McCarty. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember McCarty,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stovall, Mayor Gross.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
Next item is town attorney. I got to see up close and personal this week some of the work that Jeremy does behind the scenes, and it's a lot. So we appreciate everything that you do, Jeremy.
It was a busy week.
Yeah.
We made some headway on some important projects, though. I want to go back real quick, Mike, just so the minutes are clear. There is a resolution, and your motion to approve was to adopt that resolution.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, just making sure the minutes were clear on that. But other than that, Mr. Mayor, nothing to add. So,
Okay, well, thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. Mr. Manager, your turn.
That's correct. Yes, thank you. I just have a few comments, and I'm sure council's going to echo some of these, but I just wanted to make a few comments. One, you may have seen on your way in today, the parking lot construction got underway. It's already made a huge difference in that area, so we're really excited to see that get underway right behind the farmers market. I'm very proud to announce that the town calendar went to print. I know that's very important to our citizens and businesses. So the expectation from the printer is those will be we direct mail those to our residences and businesses, and those will be arriving around Christmas. So it'll be a nice little Christmas package maybe before, but that is on the way. And then I just want to acknowledge a lot of folks participated in pulling off the parade. Every year it's an undertaking. I don't have a really good estimate on how many spectators participated. We had nearly 100 floats participate. I know that much. Some of those are some of the largest floats we've ever had. Just from the eyeball test, it certainly seemed like one of the larger spectator crowds that we've ever had, at least in my 8 years. But I just wanted to acknowledge the Benton Public Works Department. They put a lot of effort in that night, that day, but also weeks in advance of decorating the town and making it look wonderful. And then the post-event cleanup. And I know that's a big thing that council appreciates. And I won't steal all your comments there, but I just want to acknowledge Public Works, Benton Police Department. These guys work hours, they work rotating shifts, and it's all hands on deck for the police, for our parade. And so appreciate the chief. And, the work that they do, they're professional. They really prepare a plan and then execute the plan, and they keep the town safe. When you have that many obstacles to overcome with closing down a major artery through the town on a commuting hour, it's not easy. It's not ideal, but it's part of the town. That's what we do. We celebrate Christmas on that Thursday. So they pull it off extremely well. They take some abuse, to be honest, during that time, but they do their job, they do it well, and they're happy to do it. So I just want to acknowledge all the effort that they do for the parade as well. And then a lot of administration stepped up to fill in different roles, and then town council, all your support. I mean, there's a lot of in-kind support that goes into that parade, and a lot of effort, but it's very proud moment for the town. It was, I think, an exceptional parade, and everybody seemed to have a good time. And what a way to kick off the holiday season. So just wanted to acknowledge those folks and their participation to pull it all off. Thank you much. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, sir. We appreciate those comments. Council will move on to your section for the closing comments. Vice Mayor, we'll start with you this evening, if you'd like, please.
Yeah, just going to touch on a couple of things that, of course, Pete did. First off, just if I forget, I want to wish everybody, of course, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. 2023 has been a great year. Town is in probably one of the best positions it's ever been, and that's thanks for the staff. We want our staff to take a break and enjoy the holidays. I do agree with you on the Christmas parade. I didn't make the tree lighting because we had a couple of family things we was trying to coordinate, but anyway, we ended up at 107. Great parade. I do have to take my hat off to, and I get it. I'm a graduate from William Byrd. My wife graduated from Stanton River. Hold that against her, but I got to take my hat off to the Stanton River Band. And because we were at 107, and you're thinking, okay, I'm thinking, other bands come through, but we're thinking, okay, you're done. Really, you're pretty much done. You hang a left, go up a hill. Hung a left at 107, and there was a group of us there, and they commented. And of course, naturally, like I said, Patsy graduated from St. River. But anyway, I did want to take my hat off to them because they did do a good job. Sounded good at the end of the parade. And that's all I got, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thanks, sir. Appreciate that. Ms. Mullins, anything?
Also, the town looks beautiful. The lights are beautiful. I'm excited about Christmas. Excited for the staff to have a much needed break, and appreciate all their hard work as usual. And hats off to the William Byrd High School football team.
Yeah.
They had a fantastic season, and they worked so hard, and they deserve all the accolades. I don't even know I'm just so proud of them. They did a great job, and I wish they were still playing.
I do too. They did a great job. The wonderful season. Pam, you have anything further?
I do. I love the town. Love the lights. I love the town. I'll say it every time. I love the lights. It's so cool. And to go by the War Memorial and see all the lights and the trees, and it's just like a little fairy tale land. It's beautiful. It's so eye-catching. So thank you for all the hard work from Public Works, because, I tell people, just drive through town. Just drive through town every chance that you get, because something new seems to go up, like every day. It's really cool. So thank you so much for that. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for the Stanton River shout out. I went to Stanton River, but more importantly, my nephew is in that band, and it's a small band, but they do a mighty work. So.
They sounded good.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're
I appreciate that. And of course, grandbaby enjoyed the parade.
Absolutely.
The horses were amazing. They brought them over and let the spectators rub them. So that was a big thing. Yeah. Polar Express. I can't say enough about everything. I was a big kid at that. I had a blast. So thanks to the Lions Club for the spaghetti dinner prior to. That went really well also. And then, of course, go through town the next day and you don't even know we had a parade. So thanks to Public Works. Thanks to these guys for wearing these hats tonight. That was my idea, but it is the last one before Christmas. So
good idea.
Everybody has a Merry Christmas, safe time through the holidays, and just enjoy time with your family. And it wouldn't be good of me to not mention that Jesus is the reason for the season. So enjoy and fellowship.
Yeah, there's. I think these hats are proof that Sabrina definitely likes to have a good time. So thank you for the hats.
Oh no, you can't. Oh. It's a rental. It's a rental.
Oh man, I'm getting attached to it.
You were good.
Thank you.
A lot's already been said, but I was at the tree lighting. It was very organized. Everyone did a great job. The tree was beautiful, lighting up the town. That just topped it all off, I guess. Our town does look really amazing with all the lights of all the buildings. And Sabrina said, it's like a little fairy tale. It is. If we had some snow, it would be a snow globe. It would be a perfect snow globe. And then with the parade, Pete mentioned it with all the staff and all the help that everyone come together, paid staff that came together in their time off to put this parade together for all the citizens. Nothing can ever fail in this town because everyone's going to rally and make it happen. So hats off to them. Can't wait to celebrate with them at their employee luncheon coming up. They definitely deserve it. And our citizens deserve that parade too. And we continue to do more for them too. I think next week Santa comes to town and rides through every single street in this town. So I don't know if there's anywhere else in this country that does that. But we are a very special town that does that every year for the citizens. Speaking of Public Works and all, the roads behind Kroger look amazing. They're starting to come together. All been milled and paved, or not all paved yet, but it's all looks like it'll be done in the next week. So just another, the town keeps looking better every single day.
Yeah, it does.
And lastly, I've enjoyed, serving with council and working with staff in 2023. I can't wait to do it again in 2024 and can't wait to see what we do with new projects. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Good. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I guess I should just say ditto to all that stuff,
That's it.
Because I certainly agree with all of it. Just very briefly, though, I do want to give a shout out to our staff for the great parade. It was just awesome. And of course, Vinton Chamber assisted in that also. But that parade was awesome, but it takes a lot of work, and our staff really stepped up to bat, Public Works and the police department, so we would just appreciate them so much. And that's true for any activity we have here in town, whether it's the parade or the Santa Crawl that you guys mentioned, where we go through the neighborhood and stuff like that. Anytime we have an activity like that, our staff always steps up, and it's extra work. It's a big job, and they really answer the bell every time. They do a great job. You mentioned that we had the legislative lunch here in town. That was at 107 Pollard. And there again, I want to thank Pete and everyone that was involved in bringing that lunch to town, because that's the regional representatives from all the way from Allegheny County to Franklin County. They were all gathered here along with our representatives, and so it was a real opportunity to show off, real opportunity to expose our town to some folks that maybe don't see it very often. So it was a great activity. So thank you, Pete, and the staff and everyone that helped with that. Folks, I can't tell you how much I enjoy working with y'all. All of you, the staff and the council. We've got a great group, and it just means so much to me that we've had such a great year. I certainly enjoy working with all of you, and I hope all of you have a very joyful and safe holiday. So God bless you all. Anything further to come before council?
I just want to say, I forgot one thing. Pete, you did an awesome job. And the staff helped as well, and everybody gets kudos, but you did an awesome job, and I want you to know that.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yep, there's no doubt about that. We've got a great team and a great leader, so we appreciate you. Appreciate all of our folks. We got a good job.
The only one thing I do, everything can't be positive, so we got to have something. But if the other thing, before Pete got here, Jeremy Carroll had on a hat.
I know.
Oh, yeah?
And it wasn't until Pete sat down that Jeremy took his off.
He said,
So it's Pete's fault.
You got to get a picture again. Way to go, Jeremy.
He said the only way he was going to wear it all night, and then when Pete says no, I'm not going to wear my hat. He did not want to make Pete look bad.
On the toes of the elected.
Yeah, he was all aboard until Pete came in and said he wasn't going to wear his hat.
get a picture.
Yeah, Jeremy's been around a while. He knows.
Yeah, he was all
There's nothing further to come before council. We will entertain the motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the last council meeting of 2023.
Second.
All right, all in favor signify by leaving. Thank you, folks. Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thanks.